Have you been thinking about ditching the dye, but you just haven't mustered up the courage to do it just yet? Well, today I want to talk about the fact that 2021 might be the ideal year for you to finally ditch the dye and embrace your natural hair. Yes, I am talking about letting the transition happen in 2021, and I want to share the reasons why. Now, if we have never met before, my name is Kat, and ditching diets and dye is all about my personal journey to stop fighting my body and start trusting it instead. Now, before I get into my 3 reasons why you should consider 2021 for transitioning your gray hair, I first want to say who this video is for. Because if you are perfectly happy dyeing your hair, then this video is not for you. I am talking to the woman who is contemplating transitioning your hair. I'm talking to the woman who spends a lot of time thinking, what will it eventually be like when I'm finally ready to do it? I know that whenever I would go to the hair salon and I would touch up my roots, I would ask my hairstylist, okay, so when it's time, in 10 or 15 years, what will it be like? What will we do? How will we transition? How long will it take? I kept thinking about it and it was taking up all of this time in my head, but I was convinced I wasn't ready. And this is that contemplation phase where you know it's something you're going to do eventually. It's just that you're not quite sure when. These are the people I am talking to you. So if that sounds like you, then listen up, because I am going to share why I think this year is probably your best year if you haven't started the transition yet. Okay, so first of all, it's still not business as usual. Yes, 2020 is behind us, thankfully. However, we're still restricted and limited in what we can do. You're probably not going to be attending any big events where there are lots of cameras and photos being taken. And a lot of us are still working from home. And even if you are going to work, you're probably not seeing as many people. But here's the other thing. With so many salons having shut down in the past 9 months, you'll notice that there are more and more women who have decided to embrace transitioning their hair. So when you do see people and go out or have calls, you'll notice there are more people like me who are rocking a demarcation line and they're letting their gray hair grow in. Or they're using gray blending or some other technique to transition their hair. But more and more people are doing it. And here's the other thing. There's so much going on that's just really more important than your demarcation line when you go out. So people probably just don't care that much. So this is still a good year. It's going to be a while before we actually get back to life as we knew it before. Now, the second thing that is connected to this is this idea that it's a really great time to be experimental. Now, when I say this, I really want to drive home the fact that you don't have to make this 100% commitment to do this year, but you can make a commitment to be experimental. When I say that, I mean commit to going longer than you usually feel comfortable with touching up your roots. For example, if you can go 4 months without touching up your roots, you should have around 2 inches worth of growth. That actually gives you a lot more insight into what your gray pattern looks like. Because if you're anything like me and many other women, you never let your roots get long enough to actually see what your natural hair pattern looks like. And when I was forced to find out last year when the salons closed, I actually discovered that it was not what I expected at all. And then that helped me make the decision that, yes, I want to do this right now. Now, the experimental idea is that if you decide after, say, 4 months that, yeah, this really isn't right for me, great, you can go back to dyeing your hair. But because, as I mentioned, it's not business as usual, we aren't seeing as many people, we are more restricted, it's a little bit easier to get away with trying something out like this. So I think it's a great idea to just put on that, okay, I'll take a first step approach and then see what happens, and then make the decision later. You don't have to 100% decide right now if it's actually time for you to 100% transition. So embrace a little bit of that experimentation mentality, and that could go a really long way. Now, if during that you do have to look a little bit more put together or you're nervous about having your roots showing, use some root spray. It's temporary, it washes out. I used root spray for the first 3 months when the salons were shut down before I knew I was going to transition my hair. And I was so grateful for having that tool because it just made me look put together if I was on a virtual call or if I was out. So that is an option that is there for you. Now, the final reason that 2021 is a great year to consider transitioning to gray is that there is so much support out there. Now, I know this firsthand, not just because I've joined support groups online, but because I see the comments that are coming in on this channel every single day. There are so many people out there that have either already done this, they're in the middle of doing it, or they're contemplating doing it, but they have each other's backs. And that's amazing. And if you are nervous or scared or intimidated, there are people out there, including myself, who have your back and are cheering you on. So if you are uncertain or you're nervous, or you're not sure you can even make it a few months, comment and I will cheer you on. I can be your cheering squad. But there are also so many other women who are out there to support you during this transition. Because let's face it, it's kind of a big deal. And sometimes it seems like it's not, but it is. So let's treat it that way and let's have each other's back and support. Now, I would love to hear from you. Are you thinking about transitioning your hair in 2021 if you haven't started yet? I really do think that this could be a perfect time and opportunity for you to at least experiment and see if maybe this is the right year. So I would love to hear, is this something that's helpful? And again, if you find this video helpful or you just want to come along for the ride and see how the rest of the transition goes, then I encourage you to like and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you soon. Have a happy new year.